I can't think of a specific moment when I felt like a fish out of water because I can't remember a time when I didn't feel like an outsider. I was the only English boy at my primary school in India, and then the only brown face in my class in secondary school when we returned back to England. As the only one with an accent, I was often bullied. I didn't play football on the playground because I'd learned cricket. I remember being told not to ask so many questions by some of the teachers and to just sit quietly at the back. I've often been the only vegetarian or vegan at the dining table, the awkward one, and almost always the only person not drinking in the room. And I've learned that this is a really big deal. Not only did I miss out on the networking opportunities that happened at the pub or over the drinks, but I also realized that people don't always trust people who don't drink. I remember in the office quite often being the only one who hadn't been skiing and just couldn't participate in those conversations or plans. I think more generally, as someone who was very active in a religious and spiritual community and volunteering for really the past couple of decades, I really struggled to talk about what I did in the evenings or weekends for fear of judgment, or at least making people feel uncomfortable. We don't really talk about religion, community, spirituality in the workplace. I was often the youngest person and the only person of color on the leadership committee, and didn't always relate easily to the people around me. When you feel desperate to belong or are trying hard to fit in or be liked, it's easy to lose yourself or your identity or your confidence in the process. Many leaders don't understand or can't empathize with the compound effect of minority employees continuously feeling like they don't belong and they're not meant to be there. To be clear, I've never experienced deliberate racism at work throughout my career. In fact, I think this industry has been incredibly meritocratic. I was also really fortunate to have great managers, sponsors who saw more in me than I saw in myself, and coaches who gave me brutal feedback and really valuable advice. But as I look back over my career, I think it's not surprising that I've been very private, that I didn't make many friends at work, that I wasn't part of the clique. I remember being told as I stepped into the CEO role, as I became a leader here in this role, that I needed to peel back the layers of the onion and let people in to who I really am and what I really care about. I remember finding that incredibly hard. But I made the decision as CEO of Reddington that I wanted to be more open and vulnerable. And I knew that this was key to being a more inclusive leader, but it wasn't easy. But through trial and error, I've been learning how to be myself more, or more importantly, expose more of myself to those around me, to be seen for who I am and be comfortable about what I'm not. I think deep down, we all just want to be seen, to be accepted, and even loved for who we really are, even if that isn't like those others around us. I think being authentic and comfortable in your skin when you're in a position of power empowers others to do so as well. And which is why I realized it was critical in creating an inclusive culture in the firm I lead. Today, I do feel a lot more comfortable in my skin, albeit it is a journey. I feel more confident owning my differences. And I recognize that it is because of my different background, not despite it, that I bring something distinct and valuable to the table. I wish someone had told me that earlier.